National Life has been on quite a ride. Triple your life production. In just the past 2 years, you've tripled National Life's annuity production. Number one in IUL sales, number one in IUL market share, number one in fixed indexed annuities for employer plans.
From my point of view, the secret behind our success has been Jesus, do you have enough notes, bro?
We got some surprises in here for you.
Here you go. Rock and roll.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Maiden Voyage, the first Alliance Group podcast from Stratton Studios 2.0, and we have the most special of special guests from National Life Group, President and CEO, Mehran Assadi. Mehran, welcome. Welcome to Stratton Studios and welcome to Alliance Group HQ.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here, especially since this studio is named after one of my favorite guys.
We love Jerry so much. And if Jerry, I was thinking earlier this morning when we were giving you a tour through here, if Jerry could see what we've done with this amazing expansion and what Travis and his team have built here, he would be so proud. And I know that he's smiling down on us right today.
Well, absolutely. And I also think that he would actually enjoy the fact that his legacy is living on for many years to come. Jerry had tremendous affection for all of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's wonderful that this studio is named after Jerry.
Yeah, and always will be. As I mentioned, this is our very first time that we've actually filmed in this new edition of Stratton Studios. We have an amazing guest here, and the topic, Mehran, we're going to be talking about leadership today. Now, you're entering your 22nd year with National Life.
That's correct.
That's incredible, which includes 16 years as president and CEO, and you're in your 8th year now as chairman of the board. In those 8 years, National Life has been on quite a ride. Triple your life production. In just the past 2 years, you've tripled National Life's annuity production. Number one in IUL sales, number one in IUL market share, number one in fixed indexed annuities for employer plans. It's been a pretty dominant run for you here. How are you feeling right now as you're leading this ship?
Well, I feel honored that I've had the privilege of being part of an amazing company. And from my point of view, the secret behind our success has been advocacy for financial literacy, advocacy for living benefits, and we have amazingly talented group of individuals who are committed to what we do for a living. As a mission-driven and purposeful company, that's our North Star. And that's been the secret sauce. It is getting the right group of people where they have alignment in terms of their objectives and goals, and advocacy for taking care of underserved markets. So I feel great. I think the opportunities are phenomenal.
It's incredible.
The best is yet to come from my point of view. And it has never been a better time to be in this business than right now, because it's also a great opportunity to recruit more people into this business to serve the industry. The industry is literally short 100,000 agents.
Yeah.
So underserved markets, opportunities to recruit people to an industry which is bigger than individuals.
Yeah.
And we believe in service.
The opportunity has truly never been better. And we're going to be discussing, as I said, leadership on this podcast, Mehran. We're going to talk about things like your leadership philosophies and principles. We're going to talk about what and who shaped you as a leader and your leadership style, as well as some advice that you have for developing leaders that might be listening. As a leader of a company that is having such really unprecedented success right now, things are very, very good, obviously. What challenges come with being at the helm of a ship where things are going so well? Are there unique challenges that actually come with such rapid growth and such great success?
Yeah, well, Sam, one of the exercises I went through a few months ago with my field leadership team
Mhm.
was an exercise of superpowers and kryptonites. And believe it or not, when we boiled everything down, as far as kryptonites and superpowers, it came down to success. Success can be a superpower. It also can be a kryptonite because it can lead to being complacent.
Complacency,
Yes,
which you said is the enemy.
it's the disease.
Hmm.
It's actually the disease because uh, in business there is always the next level. In business, there's competition, and we love and respect our competition because our competitors constantly remind us that there is this next level.
Right.
So, from my point of view, our success has been cause of celebration, and at the same time, uh, constantly we have to work on what does the next chapter look like.
Right. No matter how well things are going, there's always a next level to be reached, and you always have to battle against that disease that can creep in, which is that complacency.
It absolutely can. It's human nature.
Right.
It's human nature, and in business, you cannot lose your hustle.
Hmm.
And when you're number one, you have to create challenges. You have to create goals and opportunities in order to serve with sort of a vision and ideas that is scaring the daylight out of you.
If your goals don't scare you.
Yes. Well, actually, that was a clean version of it.
All
The
right.
version I use is if your goals don't scare the hell out of you,
Mhm.
they're not big enough.
Yep.
And when we talk about doing $1 billion of life insurance at National Life, that is a pretty scary goal
It's a big number.
because when you take a look at top three insurance companies, that's exactly in the zone that you want to operate. And when you're talking about annuity business of doing $10 billion of annuities, which our company has never done, 176-year-old, we have never done $10 billion of SPDAs. And, we have had a tremendous run with life insurance, as
Right.
you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of touched on some things there that I want to get more into. Things like vision, um, and culture. 2011 and 2012. If you look at the history of National Life, it really, to me, it was a turning point because this is where you really started to impress upon the company your vision, your mission, and this is where we hear a lot of these things come in that have now become mantra at National Life. Your 2011, 2012 is when you established the company's vision
Right.
statement, right? Which is to bring peace of mind to everyone we touch. And at the same time, you're bringing in things like the mission statement, keeping our promises,
Yep.
and of course, the do good, be good, make good. What was your was that a goal that was that a very high priority for you that we need to make sure that was that the first step in kind of reshaping the culture to what you needed the company to be to achieve the growth that we're seeing now?
Well, absolutely. Sam, I joined a company which had a tremendous history, very proud history.
Mhm.
I joined a company which had a clean balance sheet, financials.
Mhm.
And you may say, well, doesn't every company have a uh, clean balance sheet? The answer is no,
It
because sometimes financial services companies have to deal with sins of the past, right? And I'll just leave it at that and
Sure.
say the company I found had a clean balance sheet, which is very important because that's really what sits behind the promises you are making.
Mhm.
At the same time, Sam, we had become a home office. we were internally focused, right? And also, I believe we did not have alignment with our agents. We were not on the same page. We were not coming together to serve a higher calling,
Right.
higher calling, not just common, higher calling
Gotcha.
in terms of service. So it was important to create that culture. I think we needed a new culture. We needed a culture that was mission driven and purposeful. And I felt that was critical. As a matter of fact, as a newly appointed chief executive officer of the company, I stood in front of the entire associate population and I said, I'm going to focus on three priorities: midterm strategy and long-term strategy for the organization. I'm going to focus on performance at the top line and bottom line and every measurement in between. And thirdly, I'm going to focus on people, which fuels number one and number two. And I'm very sure as I was sharing that information with everyone in January of 2009, they were like, of course, that's CEO talk. Of course, he's going to say people are important.
Right.
And from my point of view, part of the people element was creating this new culture, right? Financial services companies have very sophisticated vision statements, which often doesn't mean a darn thing
Right.
to the people they serve. So in our case, we believe simple is hard.
That's the other thing
You're a marketing guy, right?
Yep.
Our mantra in our marketing organization at National Life is simple is hard.
To take any concept and try to boil it down to the simplest, most impactful message, right?
Right. If you have a vision statement that needs to be translated, it's not simple.
Right.
So that was the criteria that I was using. And when we thought about what we do for living, is effectively to bring peace of mind to everyone we touch. Everybody understands what that means.
Yep.
And insurance is about keeping promises, right? Because you really think about insurance, it's a promise that you have to make good on 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Or once upon a time, our oldest client, it was like 80 years later,
Right.
that we had to make good on that promise,
Yep.
right? And the whole concept of value statement that people can verbalize and describe in their own voice, I think is pretty damn powerful.
It is.
Right? Because doing good is what this industry is all about. And in order to do good, you have to be at the top of your game. You got to be good.
Right.
In order to be worthy of serving other people. And of course, ultimately, we are about making good on the promises we are making. So, one of my colleagues, when we were going through this process of creation of the new culture of National Life Group, which became the jet fuel for our success, because that's what culture is in every organization. My colleague asked me, he said, Mehran, why not be great? And my response was, if you're good constantly, that is pretty damn good, right? Because at the time, everybody was talking about good to great and blah, blah,
Right,
blah,
right, right.
blah, right?
Using
So
the
I was like,
superlatives.
no, we want to be good.
Consistently good. Being consistently good all the time
Correct.
is pretty great.
Correct.
I love it. In interviews, Mehran, you've credited. I want to go back and talk about what shaped your leadership style. In interviews, you've actually credited your parents and your upbringing with shaping your leadership style. Can you talk a little bit about
Sure. The whole concept of service and servant leadership is something that people often ask me. So, which book did you read?
Right.
Was this some sort of a executive MBA program? So, where does this passion around service and being a worthy leader comes from.
Mhm.
And my response is I was blessed with a great mother, amazing father, uh, and and they were the complete package from mentoring and coaching point of view.
Mhm.
Um, I had a privilege of watching my mom and watching my dad in the communities that we were part of uh, to bring element of leadership, an element of support and help. Uh, my mother was a pioneer in women's right movement in Iran. I was born in Iran, as you're well aware.
Of course.
And my mother was a lioness, right?
Wow.
So she was a amazing lady with tremendous gravitas, competitor, not settling for mediocrity. Uh, from the time I was 6 years old, I had the privilege of watching my mom in her own rights as a leader, my dad spending time with my dad in his professional life,
Mhm.
and watching the sincere passion that my father had for his colleagues, caring and loving, and being not being afraid to express
Right.
his passion and love for his teammates. So I had the privilege of watching two amazing leaders, and I can talk about that for hours. All I would tell you is I had a front seat to
Yeah.
watching my mom and dad, and that is where my passion comes from. I don't do anything half-ass.
Mhm.
Excuse my French.
It's okay. It's a peep
I'm
peep
in it
knockout.
all the way. Whatever I do, I learned from my parents. If you're gonna do it to the best of your ability.
Anything that is worth doing right.
Correct.
Did you have growing up beyond your childhood, as you grow older, is there a specific mentor or leader that you emulated or held in particularly high regard as you were coming up?
Um,
Did you have mentors of your own?
well, I would say I've been a student of life,
Hmm.
right? So I actually pay attention to everybody I come in contact with. I'm learning from my teammates today.
Hmm.
I am learning with people I have connections with. So I would not call out anyone specific, to be candid with you,
Sure.
because it won't be right. And also, it may sound good, but that's not the reality of journey I've been on. I would say the people that I have looked up to and learned from uh, ultimately were my parents.
Oh, it's fantastic. And not just one single person you were looking to, but learning from hundreds of people that you were coming across just in your daily life as you went through your career, taking little pieces and lessons from everybody that you worked with.
So here's the reality of if you're a true learner,
Hmm.
you learn from the people that you admire, and you also learn from people who have qualities that you never want to emulate.
Hmm.
So learning happens all day long for me, and that's one of the reasons I'm in business, because the learning part is what is inspiring for me.
This is a question I had for a little bit later, but you've transitioned perfectly into it. I've noticed that you are a student of other people who are in your position, your counterparts, so to speak, at other insurance carriers, at other large Fortune 500 companies. You stay abreast of what's going on, what they're doing. So, what qualities or actions from your counterparts throughout this industry and other industries do you respect? And uh, on the other side of that coin, what qualities and actions from other leaders, CEOs, do you not respect and not want to emulate?
What I like to emulate is transparency, because I think as a chief executive or officer of a company, you are accountable to your clients, you're accountable to your agents, you're accountable to your associates. And the way I think about that, Sam, is the fact that it is not just individual clients, it's clients and their families. It is not just your agents, it is your agents and their families. It's your associates and your families. So to me, that accountability is significant because effectively, a lot of people are relying on you. As a matter of fact, one of the questions that people like to ask CEOs is actually I happen to think it's a very cheesy question to ask, which is what keeps you up at night?
We're gonna cross that one off. Hold on. Just kidding.
So
I did not have that question. Let the record show.
so
What does keep you up at night, though, Mehran? Since you asked.
well, I'm actually giving you that, right? So my response usually is, beside making sure that my kids are doing well, my 3 boys are doing well, my obligation to our clients, agents, and associates and their families is a priority of mine. Because when I screw up, it impacts that large group of people I just described to you. So to that end, transparency and being the best version of me is critical in my role. So I would put transparency at the top of the list.
Of things that you admire in other leaders when they show those
Right.
those
And
qualities.
what I do not admire
Right.
is when people do double talk. When people don't appreciate the privilege that people like me have to serve and be part of the solution. So for me, that's the quality that I don't respect, because nobody is that special.
Right.
You're not God's gift to mankind, right? Once you are sitting in the CEO seat. And also, don't forget ever where you came from.
I love it. When did you put together your? You have this. I don't know what I call it, a presentation. Your 7 C's of leadership. When was the first time that you remember sitting down and putting together this system? I'll call it your 7 C's.
It's a personal assessment. It really is a personal assessment. So first of all, I learned about 7 C's of leadership from a CEO that I worked for at my first employer, USFNG in Baltimore.
Okay.
So in 1991, I think it was, new CEO comes to the company because the company was in trouble, and this new leader who came from GE Capital, I believe. One of the I got to know him very well. I had tremendous respect for the man in terms of what he did for that company to do a turnaround. And one of the things that he brought to us as a leadership team was a way that he assessed himself, and he referred to it as 7 C's of leadership. And so that had to be, I don't know, 28, 29 years ago when I learned about this concept. So what I did with the 7 C's of leadership and a way to assess yourself as a leader became a routine for me, where every Sunday morning,
Okay.
before everybody is up in my house, when my kids were younger even.
Wow. Having to get up pretty early if they got up as early as my kids.
Yeah. So on a Sunday morning, you're up at 6:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, because you're sleeping later, hopefully an hour later. I wake up, I put a pot of coffee on and sit and basically assess myself.
Reflect.
right, as the week I just had, and what sort of adjustments I need to make for the upcoming week. And I use this process of 7 C's.
So you're going through each of these 7 things and you're kind of reflecting on the last week, you're looking at the week ahead. These 7 C's for our viewers who might not be familiar with them. For
You're not going to test me on it?
absolutely. I didn't want to put you in a spot, Mehran.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Put me
please.
on the spot.
No, I'm going to. All right. So, number 1 C,
Comprehension.
comprehension. Talk about comprehension.
So as a
relates to
leader,
leadership.
part of what you're supposed to be doing is to know what is around the corner. Basically, not just focus on what is happening right now, also what is around the corner, and what are the type of things that you need to pay attention to, like predicting what is the next thing you need to be thinking about and doing, basically.
The next C is
Competencies.
I was even doing them in order. This is impressive. All right. So, competency as it
Yes.
relates to leadership.
So, as a practitioner of the business, do you have the proper competencies? In order to lead from comprehension, you got to have the proper competencies.
Right.
Right? In order to be a
know your stuff.
leader, you got to know your stuff. You got to know your craft.
Right.
When you're running a financial services company, there are so many elements, right, that you need to be knowledgeable of.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be an expert in every element, but you got to have the appropriate knowledge to ask the right questions.
Right. Of the leadership that you put in charge of that area.
Correct.
The third C is
Third C is confidence.
he's got it. Confidence. Confidence, a very important part of being a leader, obviously, because you have to have buy-in from the people that you're leading, right?
Correct. And in order to demonstrate confidence, you have to have the right competencies.
Mhm.
How can you have confidence in your abilities, in your knowledge, in terms of what you're talking about, if you don't have the competencies, and also you don't have the proper comprehension,
Right.
in order to predicting what is next?
Right. Yep. Our fourth C, Mehran,
Is courage.
is courage. This is the one that I was most wanting to get your input on. Courage in leadership, very important.
So in leadership, sometimes you have to stand alone. Sometimes you have to stand for what is right. And if you have the confidence because of the competencies that you have,
Mhm.
because of the track record you have, because of the ability you have to predict the next thing, then you will have the courage to basically stand for what is right.
I'm noticing a trend here is that each different C helps strengthen the others, right? And
Correct.
if there's a weak link, they all suffer.
Ultimately, I would say yes.
Or at
Ab-
least the sum of them suffers. Right?
Yes, yes. And to be candid with you, I would say all of them are not created equally, except they do complement each other,
Mhm.
right? So, and of course, when you have courage, the next C
Mhm.
is conviction.
Right.
Are you willing to stand alone for something that you fundamentally believe in?
And stand against people who might try to
Right.
take you out of it. You have to be convicted.
I'll give you a perfect example, right? This culture thing we were talking about that I refer to as the jet fuel,
Mhm.
right? I think some of my colleagues in early days, they were like, he's going to get tired of this.
It's just a phase he's going
It,
through.
it's a phase.
He read a book.
It's a CEO talk,
Yeah.
right? He's going to get tired of it. So somebody actually asked me, they were like, so this cultural transformation that you keep talking about in this company, right? Right competencies in the right seats. We go with the best and brightest. We add free agents from outside to create this new company, right? How long does it take? I said, it takes 5 years. They're like, 5 years? You're going to be patient for 5 years? And my response was, I've done this before. It takes 5 years. It's not a quick fix. So we have to be patient. And we have to have conviction.
Culture is literally something, if it's true culture, it literally cannot be developed overnight or within 6 months or a
No.
year. It's changing attitudes and ways of thinking of people.
And also, there is not a recipe. The recipe evolves with personality of people and organizations. One size doesn't fit all.
Mhm. We've got through comprehension, competency, confidence, courage, conviction, and that brings us to
Communication. Yeah, pretty damn important.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest element of communication is listening, right? Because normally when you talk about communication, people would talk about your oral communication, written communication, so on and so forth. I think communication is critical because you have to have an ability to be a good listener and also good communicator and give people the dignity of speaking to them in a ways that they can understand what your message is. The idea is not to talk over people. The idea is not to dumb things down. It's just to break it down
Right.
and explain things in ways that people can understand what your message is. That's why communication is so critical when you're in a leadership role, you're building a marketing organization, you're trying to be a service organization, you want to be a mission-driven organization, because ultimately your constituencies are underwriting you every time you interact with them. And people look for that consistency of the message.
You talked about that. You talked about the ability to be able to truly actively listen to somebody and then provide that feedback is actually more important than being able to stand at a podium and deliver a beautiful, flowery speech.
Correct.
Communication, very, very important. That brings us to our final C, Mehran, which is
Very important.
yes.
And I would say out of the 7, I said not all of them weigh equally. I think character is extremely important when it comes to leadership, because that is one of the critical things that people underwrite about any leader, right? Are you transparent? Are you speaking to the truth? Or are you playing a situational ethic, basically? And when you talk about financial services business, trust and confidence is extremely important
Selling a promise. You have to be able to
because we are offering promises. And for us to have that level of transparency, by the way, that doesn't mean you don't make mistakes, right? One of the reasons I do the personal assessment every Sunday morning for the past 28, 29 years is because the idea is to be the better version of you as you move forward. Because nobody is a finished product. I know some people like to describe themselves as a second coming, but guess what? Everybody knows that opportunities are out there for us to continue to grow and evolve as a human being. That's why we live.
I didn't share my notes with you. My very next question on here, I'm reading it from the card. You said an important part of growth is never being a finished product.
Correct.
What does Mehran Assadi want to get better at?
Excellent question. And I would say continue to become a stronger steward of this organization And the way that's going to happen is by learning every single day. And one of the things I want to get better at is to uh, be more patient. Uh, I have a sense of urgency
Mm-hmm.
in everything that I do, which is tied to my passion for the business. And that sense of urgency sometimes can be too much, to be very frank
For
with
the
you.
people around you,
Oh,
for
absolutely.
the people that you're leading.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tomorrow is not early enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know it is not the ego. It's not the ego thing. It is about opportunities that are in front of us. And in my opinion, I don't want to waste a day,
Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes I believe some of my colleagues and look at me and they're like, chill, dude, chill, relax. Can't you enjoy this? Right. And I think part of that is tied to something that my father told me when I was a young guy. You know, I remember this clear as a day. I was 7 years old. And my father told me that the good Lord has put you on the face of the earth. Make your mark. It wasn't make your mark in a selfish way. It was uh, basically contributing and being part of the solution.
Right.
Don't waste your time. Contribute to the betterment of everyone every single day. Because as I mentioned to you, it's a privilege to do what we do.
It's fantastic. I I have this question. So those are the 7 C's of leadership, and it's something that you
How did I do with the test, though?
I mean, you nailed it.
I remember them.
Not only remembered them, but remembered them in order. Obviously, you are you're still following that self assessment on a very regular basis. If I one thing you talked about, Mehran, was all the opportunity that's out there. I agree. I think it is the most amazing time ever in the history of this industry to be a part of this industry. There are so many opportunities that are out there, left and right. Um, if I were to take, or if someone were to take Mehran Assadi out of his position as CEO and chairman of the board and president of National Life Group, and were to drop you on the street with a life insurance license, um, what would be the first opportunity that you would pursue?
The first opportunity would be advocate for financial literacy.
Mhm. It's the second time you mentioned that. It's a huge thing that ties our organizations together, Alliance Group and National Life, as well as many of the organizations within Alliance Group. This idea of financial illiteracy that is rampant across the country, we have the solutions for that.
We do. And I always like to use this example. Again, simple is hard.
Hmm.
I turn to our agents and ask them the following question. Do you have anyone in your family who has a bad relationship with money? Right? All of us have at least one of those, at least one of those,
Yep.
right? And I think that bad relationship is tied to lack of financial literacy. So from
And it
my
might have started with your parents having a bad relationship
absolutely,
with money.
absolutely,
Hmm.
or the partner that you selected,
Hmm.
because people come together based on the cultures in which they were raised,
Hmm.
right? So the question is, when you talk about financial literacy, it's not because people are not educated. There are people who have advanced degrees and financially they don't understand the value of money.
Right.
They don't understand value of saving for the unknown, because life happens, as we like to call it. Uh, there are people out there who are spending money on a variety of things when it comes to retirement, or when it comes to protecting themselves for the unknown. They say, I cannot afford it,
Right.
right? And there is segment of the population who doesn't even they question the affordability, right? And what is interesting is, even without getting into the politics,
Sure.
even politicians think life insurance is for rich people. What we do in our industry is actually help people to be independent.
Right. The premium is not the problem, as Steve Walters says all the time.
Right.
Premium is not the problem. The premium is the solution. Right.
Correct. Correct. And independence. When you think about the life insurance policy, right? Because we all know subsidies and dependence on some sort of a social program always is not the solution.
Right.
Right. So what we actually advocate and educate people about is independence.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's the foundation of America. And that's one of the reasons the country has been successful. In spite of our imperfections,
Mm-hmm.
we always find our way.
Yeah.
Because we like to preach independence versus dependence.
Mehran, why is Alliance Group your favorite IMO partner to work with, and how long has that been the case?
Well, I mean, I'll go back. Hey, I'm not going to give you this little. Thank you for reminding me of why Alliance is my favorite organization.
That's right. Thank you.
Yes.
No problem.
Yes. It's because of you.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
In all seriousness, our companies are tied together. Going back to Jerry Stratton, you know, you were a mentor of Jerry's. You were a mentor of Lee's, and I think our companies have mirrored each other's success because of those shared values, because of a lot of these 7 C's that you've discussed, that our leadership shares. And it's been a pretty incredible ride with National Life. There is so much work to be done. There's so much success that we're experiencing, but there's so much more work to be done. And on behalf of Alliance Group, I just want to thank you for your friendship, for your partnership, and for your leadership.
Oh, it's my pleasure. That's it's a labor of love. That's number one. Number two, in all seriousness, my relationship with leadership of Alliance has been over 2 decades. And we've been through a lot together. Okay. Jerry was like an older brother to me. The way he lived his life, his passion for the business, and love uh, for future of the organization.
Mhm.
He was actually selfless. Often people say, "Oh, I'm too old to think about new ways of doing things." So he had a creative mind. He was selfless. He wanted to make sure that future is even more bright
Mhm.
than the past.
Yeah.
Don't forget, when Jerry came into the picture of Alliance, we were at a bad place.
Yeah.
Okay. This is one of the most successful marketing organizations in the country today. Where we started, we had nowhere to go but to climb.
Mhm.
And I give a lot of credit to Jerry, to John,
Mhm.
to Lee, as a apprentice, really, right?
Yeah.
To Jerry specifically. And I'm very proud of Lee for the leader he has become, because he hasn't forgotten where he came from,
Right.
right? And he has this constituency in terms of MGAs and marketing organizations that he's accountable to. And he wants to make sure that as a leader of the organization, he is earning their respect and trust every single day. So I have tremendous respect for the organization and also the team that Lee has put together, because he clearly could sit back there and clip coupons, and he has decided not to do that. He's investing it back in the business.
Yeah. Absolutely. 2025 goals, Mehran, $725 million of life insurance, sales, $250 million of flow annuities, and $4 billion in SPDA premium. There is a lot more work to do. When do you think we are forecasting National Life hitting that $1 billion in life sales?
within the next 3 to 5 years as quickly as possible.
It's going to be an amazing milestone with Alliance Group shooting for our $100 million milestone. That was Jerry's dream. He's talking about 100 million the day that I came in to this company 13 years ago. And it's right around the corner for Alliance Group. $1 billion right around the corner for National Life. It's a very, very exciting time to be part of this partnership. And
Absolutely.
thank you again for your partnership.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us on the maiden voyage of Stratton Studios 2.0. Thank you once again to my guest, Mehran Assadi, and thank you all for watching. We'll catch you next time on the Alliance Group podcast.
Thank you.